Hey guys, this is gonna be a little different video. I know you guys were probably expecting a go-kart video, but the weather up here has been kind of tough. I would probably say tougher than some woodpecker lips. But this video is going to be on chroming. I've been told many a times that you can't really chrome pot metal, but uh, John Wright, this is his place. It's custom chrome plating, and he actually told me, we called, and he told me that he'll get it done, and he'll get it done right. And he said we could come along. So I want to bring you guys along.
So the first thing we did with your part was to strip it. That's an electro stripper that runs reverse current, and it takes the plating off as opposed to putting plating on. So we ended up with a bare piece of die cast. You might have noticed that there was copper plating on that.
So how long does this usually take?
As long as it takes. Every piece is different.
Okay.
Something small like that might take a few minutes. And I put a bumper in there. I've had a bumper in there for a few hours before. How much plating's on stuff. So
Okay.
you can see it gassing now. You know, it's stripping the plating off of it. Cool thing about hot metal and die cast like that is it'll quit gassing when the plating's off of it. You kind of know when it's done.
Oh, okay.
Just a little indicator so you don't leave something sit in the tank for too long.
Now what would happen if something did sit too long?
Eventually it'll eat it up. Hot metal and die cast, it would take a while to do that.
Okay.
But steel and stuff like that, you can etch the crap out of a piece of steel. See how it kind of turns dull?
Yeah.
It's got all the chrome off of it now. This is the nickel that's left on it.
Okay.
See that pink in the back? That's copper.
So do you get it down to that copper?
We'll get it down to that copper, absolutely.
Okay.
See how quick gassing?
Yeah.
Now she's down to the copper, and those are all the pits through to the bare metal right there. Take her and rinse her off.
Our stripper does not remove copper plating, but that's no problem because as you saw when we started doing our metal finishing, that first step takes that right off. So after what Andy did was went through a series of 2 or 3 metal finishing techniques. He started out with a belt, and he decided that it would be better if he used hand tools to take care of the more dainty parts of places on that part. So he did 2 steps, 2 metal removing steps to get the pits out of it, and then he did a final buff. That made the material shine, and is what we ended up with in the final process.
You're putting a 150 belt on the front and just make sure that's close enough. So this is a real trashy piece of pot metal.
Okay.
But that's what we work on anyway, so.
Okay. I've always heard that pot metal's hard to work on.
You gotta have a good, you gotta have the right touch with it. Little grease for lubrication. Now, I didn't bust there because I would have ended up making that whole thing collapse inward. I'm going to clean out these 2 big craters, or 3 big craters, and then it's going to be up front to the platers to put some plating on it for repairs.
Okay.
So we went from the polishing room up here to the plating area. We put the part on a rack. We put it in a soak cleaner, that's S-O-A-K. Soak because there's no electricity running through it. It just sits there. The material, the liquid in there is like soap in your kitchen sink or whatever. Then you notice I scrubbed it with a mop, little mop.
Do after we rack it up is to put it in a soak cleaner. That's S-O-A-K, like soaking your hands in dishwasher.
Okay.
Parts don't need to be in here very long, but what this does is if there were any oils on the part or fingerprints, it tends to want to smooth them off.
Oh, okay.
Where there wouldn't be any tracks, and then you'll see something else I'm going to do once I get it out. Okay, so next thing we like to do is scrub the part a little bit. This just helps the cleaning process.
And then we went to an electro cleaner, which has DC electric current running through it. And that is done to pull off any molecules of dirt that might be on that part that we didn't get off with the mop. And if you recall, that was a very short period of time, especially with zinc die castings, which are very temperamental when it comes to electric current. If you put too much current on them, it would actually cause it to start pitting again. So then I went from the electro cleaner to a cold water rinse.
So now we're going to go from here to the next cleaning tank. Right on. And this tank has a DC electric current running through it. That's direct current as opposed to alternating current. And on this particular material, zinc die casting, we don't put too much of a current on it. It's just enough to kind of help clean the particles off of the part. This is a water rinse. It's cold water, just running right from the water system.
Then we went into a very mild acid that neutralizes the caustic of the acid, of the cleaner, and it also, that particular acid has a conditioner in it that helps the surface of the die cast accept the first plating, which was a copper stripe. You notice I went in live with that. Going in live means I put a jumper on it so that when it first hit the solution, it starts to plate immediately. That's important with a zinc die casting. It needs to have that copper going on it as it goes into the solution. If it doesn't have the electric current, there's a chance that it might not adhere to the copper or to the die cast the way it should. We didn't have that in the tank very long. I'm going to say like 5 to 10 minutes.
Next, we're going to go a little farther this way. Now, this is a mild acid that is going to neutralize the cleaners. It actually starts a little bit of gassing on the surface. It's hard to see it, but maybe you can see that there. Here again, we don't need to put too much on it, just a little wee bit. Then I'm going to rinse this off. Then we're going to put a copper strike, S-T-R-I-K-E, like, and it's that because it's a short amount of copper. We like to jump the part in so that the current is on it as soon as it touches the liquid. The clip is to hold it on so it has a nice secure contact. Because now what is happening is molecules of copper are coming from these baskets that have copper in them, going through this copper solution and depositing on the part. Again, electrochemically. It's going to be in this one for about 5 minutes. Okay. In this tank, so I'll go get another sip of coffee and then we'll be back.
All right.
Then we took it out of there, rinsed it, went back into that mild acid. That rinse or that acid neutralized the copper solution. Neutralizing means it changes the pH from a very high pH to a neutral pH. We like to go into each tank as close to 7 pH as what we can. So then there was another water rinse, and that's where you get back to the 7 pH. And then we went into the nickel tank. In that tank, the nickel was depositing molecules on that copper surface that tend to level out that surface somewhat and produce a beautiful finish that will then be covered by the chrome. So we let it in the nickel tank, I'm going to say for 15 to 20 minutes.
I'm going to come out of here. Now you see copper plating on there. Let me get the hose and rinse it off. Real quick. We try to keep as many chemicals in the tank as we can, as opposed to going down the drain. Okay. Now we'll just another cold rinse. And another acid dip. That neutralizes the pH of the copper. Now we're going to go into the nickel tank. This one you don't have to go in live with. Just put it in there. Flip it. And let's give it about 15 minutes. There's an air line that runs to the bottom of the tank, low pressure air, and then there are two plastic tubes that run across the bottom with little holes drilled in them that are facing the bottom of the tank at a 45-degree angle. So the air produces agitation to the solution. So it comes up this way, and this is what you see at the top. The idea of the air agitation is to keep the surface of the part moving the solution so that new molecules could deposit. Does that make sense to you?
Then we pulled it out of there, double rinsed it, went into the chrome. The chrome is a relatively quick plating operation. It doesn't need to have a half hour or more. It's just within a minute or two on a small part like that, that's enough chrome to protect the nickel. After that, we came out of that tank, rinsed it, hot rinsed it, and then Norma took it off the rack, waxed it, and put it in your hands. That's the end of the show.
So now it has a nice nickel plating on it. Looks like chrome, but it's not really chrome. We're going to do the chrome next. Now rinse it off a little bit. Rinse it down here and rinse it again. Just a cold water rinse. I've got to turn the current up now.
Turn the current up.
Not nearly as long as it's almost like in the cleaner. The chrome plates pretty fast. So we'll just be another 15-20 seconds and we'll be done with that.
All right.
Is a hot rinse that has some stuff in it to kind of put a nice surface on it until it gets waxed.
Okay.
There you have the chrome. And then we'll get Norma to do her thing on it, okay?
All right.
Here you go, Norma. They're going to shoot you while you're taking care of that.
They're gonna shoot me.
They're gonna shoot you.
What did I ever do?
So guys, there it is. Some of you might have been wondering how the chroming process was, and I'm hoping you guys learned a little something out of this video. I just want to thank you, John, and all of his workers, because you guys were so nice and you guys are such professionals. They only did one piece because of us being there, but they do have 5 pieces that I brought in. If you live close in the area, you could bring it in, or you could mail it in. I'm going to have their website in my description below, so if you have Chrome, please check them out. They do have a sign in there that I liked. It says "good enough is not good," so you know they mean business when they have that sign. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I hope you guys enjoyed your cruise down to Lashman Road.